And we are live. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by two of my colleagues, and one of them is fighting this weekend. So this is an extra special podcast. But Lewis, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Katie. It's been a while since I've been on one of these views, so always nice to see you. Always nice to talk fights with you, and yeah, glad to be here.
It's been a while since any of us have done one. Glenn, you
Yeah.
are looking in fight shape. How are you feeling?
Oh, ready to rock. Let's go. I was going to swear then, but remember, it's not the late show anymore, is it?
We'll let you, but it is only just past 6 o'clock.
Oh, parents, guidance advised.
So, Glenn, you're fighting at Budo this weekend against Ateba Abega Gautier. Hopefully, I haven't butchered that. I don't know much about him. I know he's 1-0 as a pro. I know he's been training at Manchester top team. Do you know anything about him? This is your pro debut.
No, that's all we know about him. We haven't really dived too deep into him. Like, I just been working on me, to be honest, because there's loads of holes there to work on. So, like, I do like to know a bit about my opponent, but doesn't seem to be much on him anyway. So we've just left it to my coaches and everything. So, yeah, apparently he trains the Manchester top team, and he's been over here a while. I think he's originally from Cameroon, I think. That's all I know.
So how do you game plan for a guy whose style you don't know?
Win. Win. Yeah. Like, it was the same with when I fought Logan on Cage Warriors. Like, we knew Logan was a grappler. We knew everything. But again, it was no game plan. It was just do me. I know I didn't end the result I wanted, but sometimes you just got to do you and not focus on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he could be a wrestler, he could be a grappler, he could be a striker. I don't care.
Was that your last fight, Glenn? Was Logan your last fight?
No, my last fight was on the AMAS in Rome.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, wow.
I'm glad you can remember, Lou, because I can't.
You're looking very slim, Glenn, like really slim. 84 kilos this fight, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like obviously day before weigh-in. I used to fight 93 same day. I have done 93 day before, which I did a bit of a cut. So my first cut to 84. So like this, I've been in 20 years, I think, or 19 years, something like that.
Wow. Lewis, you buzzing to see him back in there?
I am. A few things I wanted to ask you, Glenn, because first of all, I want to know how did you decide to fight this week? Like, I know with you, having met and interviewed at shows a couple of times, like you're a big guy. I think you fought heavyweight, you fought even bigger guys. I remember watching you fight Big Jamie McDonald down in Aberabin Leisure Centre. So you are a big guy. What made you decide to sort of cut down and fight at 84? What was the thought process behind that?
That was always the plan anyway. If I ever went pro, like obviously things happened in Rome. I come back. I retired twice. I retired to come back from Rome. Then I went to go again. I was meant to fight Shane Price on Cage Warriors. That fell through, so I retired again. But now, like, I left Nails 2 years ago and joined KGB, which is more of a striking gym. And then I had the younger again and have another crack. So I come back to Nails for my grappling. And yeah, I think the goal, if I was ever going to go pro, was always going to be 84. I was a small light heavyweight anyway. I mean, look at some of the guys they do off me. So, but I like bigger guys. I like fighting bigger guys. So I think it's because they're slower. But yeah, it was always the goal. I'm going to make 84 easy. It's no sweat. But yeah, no sweat. There's a bit of a pun in it. But yeah, I'm going to. I'll make 84. Fine. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's been a while as well, hasn't it? Because you were meant to fight, wasn't it, the Brett Jones show a couple of months back?
Yeah.
You were meant to be a headliner, I think, for that, wasn't you? So has it been a bit frustrating for you sort of being in that position where you're bouncing from show to show over the last couple of months, so you get to get back in?
Yeah, it was like, because it was talk like last year, and then everything happened again, and so then we spoke to Brett. Like, I never wanted to turn pro for the sake of turning pro. Like, usually people turn pro, the first couple of fights are easier than the last amateur fights, and I didn't want that. Like 3 years out's a long time, right? But I didn't want to just turn pro, just have a tune-up fight just for the sake of it. I'm 37. It's pointless padding my record. I wanted a test. And when we spoke to Brett, we had one. I was meant to fight Owen Williams. He was a really nice lad. Everyone looked at that. Nobody can call a clear winner on paper straight away. It was a good 50-50 fight. That would have been perfect. Unfortunately, Brett's venue fell through and things didn't work out the way I wanted to. I'd been in camp since Boxing Day because I did a competition in February. So then we decided to take April off and then target a fight in June, a show in June, and luckily, in July. Luckily, this came about then. So I went on a couple of holidays in April. That was my summer, you know what I mean? So the last 3 months then I've been on a wagon and in camp. So.
Well, one of the reasons that you retired a couple of times was because you kept getting niggling injuries and stuff. How's your body held out this time?
Fantastic.
No.
So for the Brett fight, right? For the Brett show, sorry. I felt great. Like I'd been in since Boxing Day, like I said. The comp went brilliant. Then I think it was either 6 or 8 weeks out from Brett's show. I was on weight then. I was flying. I felt brilliant in training. Everything was going well. So then I took time off. I come back, and for like the first 3 weeks trying to get back into training, and I just had injury after injury. Nothing major, but yeah, just stuff stop me running, stop me do this. But yeah, I feel good now. I'm fitter than I've been for years. So everything seems to be falling into place now.
What's the long-term goal for you, Sledge? Like, obviously, you said it yourself, you're 37 years old. You've started branching in, doing a little bit like the podcasts and stuff with the media. But as a fighter now, 37, is it a case of just giving it the best crack you got over the next couple of years? What's the target for you?
Yeah, realistically, a couple of years it won't even happen. I mean, we keep talking my body. Like, I wrecked it for years playing rugby for a start. So I'd say I got a good year. I mean, if things don't go my way this fight now, perhaps who knows, I might call it a day then, you know what I mean? But yeah, otherwise I'll have a good run in there this year. And then I'd love to go into coaching. That was the plan before I left Nails. But MMA is no more in Nails now. They're just a grappling gym and they got a brilliant grappling setup. But I would like to go into coaching MMA. I'm not sure where or with or if it'll happen, but that is what I want to do.
Amazing. Ricky Wright says they call him Glenjamin Button because he ages backwards and he's getting younger.
Thanks, Rick.
There you go. You could have another couple more years. And if any gyms are out there looking for coaches, you know that Glen's going to be available.
Yeah, who knows, isn't it? Who knows?
Are you buzzing? Like, what's the feeling? Like you said, it's been 3 years and like it's been lockdown after lockdown. I know you hated the lockdowns, didn't you? Like, it just drove you around the bend.
Yeah. But yeah, but like on all my previous fights, right? Fight week, I've always been excited. I always can't wait. Don't get nerves. Me and Stu and Crocs are my teammates. We're both the same. Neither of us get an ounce of nerves. But I get the nerves like 3 or 4 weeks out. You go through every scenario in your head. You start losing sleep. What if I've done it wrong? What if I haven't worked hard enough? Everyone goes through it. It's pointless just me saying it, but all fighters go through it. I just go through it earlier than the rest. And once I go past that, then I'm just buzzing to go and I'm like, oh no, I can't wait.
What's happening with Struan, Glenn? He's another guy that I've seen him fight a couple of times on Cage Warriors. Super talented guy. I think he's got a couple of pro fights. What's going on with him at the minute?
He's co-main on Saturday.
Oh, is he?
He is, yes, and he's fighting a Brazilian who is 8-1.
Oh, it's a big fight for him.
So yeah, I think you're going to see the old Struan back on Saturday because he's looking very good. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Like I said, he's one of those guys that's kind of under the radar a little bit, but every time I've seen him fight, he's really, really good and good in every area as well. So,
so I kept mentioning, I've loved Nails. Nails was my life for years. But this is me, Struan, and Mikey Kroll. We've still tried sort of camping out the Nails and fighting out the Nails. Mikey's fighting as well as we all been going to KGB to pro striking and wrestling and stuff. So this is sort of like a last hurrah from Nails for the three of us, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Is Struan sort of planning to go, or is it a last hurrah for him as well? Did you say?
No, he's going to keep on. Him and Mikey. Yeah, man, Mikey. I'll be keeping on if I perform like I know I can.
What's it like up at KGB at the minute? 'Cause I know, like, from doing local shows, the academy and things like that, it's a gym that seems to have a lot more amateurs coming through these days, and a lot. I know they've been there for a while, but with Mr. Wallace, but they seem to be getting a lot better fighters from down there now.
I'll be honest, right? Before I started training, like, I've known James Wallace for years, right? Before I trained there, I didn't realize it was as busy and not success. I didn't realize it had the talent that it did then, right? Because generally, there's some real savage strikers there. There's a great grappling coach there now. They've got a good grappling setup. There's some boys there that are in a couple of years are going to be household names. Like he's built a good squad there, and it's just more coming through.
Yeah, and they got one of the guys for PFL. Am I right in saying that? Is that one of their guys that's gone to PFL?
No, the CF24 Dino's gym.
Right. Yeah.
You don't know about Josh O'Connor, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh was meant to be. He was meant to be main event on Saturday for Budo, but they signed Josh and then they moved me up to main. Then.
Yeah.
But we all know I was the unofficial main event there anyway.
Yeah. No, it's good news, man. What's your predictions for the fight? Anything, or is it like you said, you just wait and see what happens? You don't know much about him.
Usually, I wouldn't say too much now, but you can't train for anything now. Anyway, you got 3 days. You can't put anything right in 3 days. But I'm gonna take him to deep waters and grind him out. I'm not gonna sell no more tickets anyway. But it's gonna be a points win. Because if it finishes there, I'll take it. But I've trained and I'm pushing for a points win to get my minutes back on a mat. I can't not wait.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you.
God. So, Lewis, are you at the UFC on Saturday, or where are you going to be?
So, although I would love to be down watching Sledge, I'm going to be at the UFC. Obviously covering that for Wales Online, doing like a little live blog on Mason. Obviously one of the Welsh fighters on the card.
You're saying that Mason will get more views than if you were covering Glenn?
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying it either. So. No, it's going to be a good card. Like I said, I was nervous for a little bit, thinking, we got this huge card in London. All the British guys getting exposure and getting sort of hope. It's like a big party last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I was a little bit nervous. Like, are we going to get any sort of Welsh fighters on the card? I know Jack obviously got a fight last week. Corey McKenna didn't seem to be named, and I think Mason. Then he was hanging on. He was saying he thought he was on there. Didn't know. We were all kind of thinking, he's probably not going to get it at this late in the game. But thankfully the UFC pulled a match for him, and we're going to have to watch him, and can't wait. Hopefully he gets the win. I mean, what it's like for us. We want all the British guys to win on these big UFC cards. So I'll be just as invested in guys like Paddy, Molly, Tom Aspinall. When we get there, that's just the way it is for the UK. We do support each other, unless we're fighting each other. So.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
We'll come on to the card breakdown in a minute, but like Welsh MMA, like you've got some great shows coming to Wales in the next month or two. Obviously Cage Warriors is there the same night as the PFL, which is just mind blowing to me. But which one are you guys going to be at for that?
I go to Cage Warriors. I am for that one, just because I live literally 10 minutes away from Ebervale. So just the sort of privilege of being able to drive 10 minutes across the road and go watch a numbered Cage Warriors show, I think is great. We had a phase in Wales probably 2 years ago, I would say, before the pandemic and everything, where we had a lot of big cards down here. We moved from those Newport nights, Newport Leisure Centre, up to the Cardiff Ice Arena. And we just had some massive shows with Jack Shaw and Mason Jones headlining those. I think we were really spoilt, actually, in terms of the fights we got here in Wales. And I think a lot of people have missed it over the last 2 years as well. I know we've had quite a few Cage Warriors Ebervale cards now, like academy shows.
Yeah.
Obviously a much smaller venue because it's a local leisure centre. But when you get in there, they really sort of pack it in tight. And the atmosphere you get is really, really good. So really looking forward to this card. I think there's obviously going to be a ton of Welsh representation on there, and it's pretty gutting for me because I would have loved to have been able to go to PFL a couple of weeks later, but unfortunately not the way it goes. But two big cards in Wales is always great, and I don't think anyone would be complaining.
Are you going to either of them, Glenn?
Right. The whole plan was we was going to go to Cardiff, watch PFL, watch Josh. On that date, we planned a bit of an old MMA reunion from the Neil's boys, but there's a different night out planned a week before from Neil's, so I think we're going to go to that instead, and I'll probably drive up to watch Steph then on Eberville, because PFL being in the middle of Cardiff would have been a better day out for a reunion, wouldn't it? But Eberville being out the way, I'll probably drive up that one.
You saying there's not a good night at Eberville, Sledge?
Yeah.
You don't compare to Cardiff.
Yeah. Oh, it's even better night in Swansea, so buy tickets for Saturday, let's go.
We've got a couple of comments come in. I think this is Struan that you were talking about. You're always the star of the show. Ricky wants to know where you rank yourself in the top 10 of Port Talbot legends.
Ooh, no. Can we talk about this for a while? Oh, I could talk about all Port Talbot legends. I'll talk about that all night. Come into a kitchen near you.
Podcast about the Port Talbot legends.
If you remember before, I did plan on starting my own podcast called the Dirty Old Podcast, talking all things dirty, all things Port Talbot, and all things sport. But it didn't really materialise because I couldn't find a proper co-host. So I'd rank number 10 anyway, Rick. But we'll just keep it short and sharp. I'm number 10. There's 9 in front of me.
Wow. Daniel Mizan. Glenn, what's the first
thing you want after a fight?
Yes.
Tell him he's buying and it's a dark fruit.
And he's supporting you. Come on the Sledge.
Yeah, it's one of the best mates. Yeah.
Now, boys, I want to talk to you while I've got two Welsh guys on the call. I wanted to talk to you about Jack Shaw at the weekend. Like, obviously, we were all gutted at the outcome. But, I mean, I just wanted to say, we always say this about him when he wins. We always say it about him in the way he carries himself. But that guy is, like, such a role model for kids growing up and for everyone really. Like the amount of hard work he puts in and discipline and just the way he carries himself, I think is something to really look up to. So I mean, from my point of view, I'm so proud. I know I'm not Welsh, but I'm so proud to have him representing the UK every time he goes out. I just wondered what your guys' thoughts were on the fight.
I was watching it. I had to go to a big barbecue. I did. It's kind of like a bit of a reunion of all my friends. So I'm sat there watching it, waiting for it to come on, and watch it on my phone at a barbecue. I just absolutely screamed my head off. Gutted when he lost, obviously, but like you said, I think it's one of those sports. Jack always represents himself well, and perhaps a loss at this stage won't be a terrible thing for him. He's still young. He didn't seem badly hurt, which was always a positive thing when you're in a sport where you can be sort of knocked out cold, broken limbs. Didn't seem too hurt, and I think it's just one of those things you have to accept. He lost to a better guy on the night, and he'll learn from this now and come back stronger. We know how much he's a student of the game and how much he loves to fight and be involved in MMA. So there's no doubt in my mind that win will only make him want to do it more. Only be sort of more resilient towards it, really. So yeah. Sad to see him lose. Sad to see him lose that unbeaten record. But
yeah,
you know what? Better fight. Sort of huge fighters, champions have lost fights in the past, and I'm sure Jackson come back a lot stronger from that. So gutted, but we can't wait to see him in there again as always.
Yeah. What did you think of the fight, Glenn?
You got loads of positives to take from the fight. I mean, the fact that one of the best wrestlers in that division couldn't take him down for a start. His jab was working. I think we spoke about this before. That I don't think he needed to press as much as he did second round, but that will be a learning curve for him. Where does he go next? I don't know. I don't know what happens next. Obviously, he got loads more to go. Like, he's still going to be a champion, I think. But
yeah,
like you said, it's not a bad time in his career to lose. Did he ever think he was going to be invincible? Probably not. So he probably was sooner or later he was going to learn from something, and I think this will be I think his next fight will be a big one, in terms of how his career pans out. If he has still has a higher ranked opponent, I think what happens next is a big point for him.
Yeah, he was 15 fighting 13, was he, on Saturday?
Well,
Was
Ricky was 11. Ricky was 11
11
until a week before, and then he moved to 13. 2 jumped above him somehow.
Right.
But if we could go back to one of our interviews through lockdown, I actually said Ricky Simon would be the hardest fight that Jack could have. And a couple of shows later, he actually called out Ricky Simon, and I'm shocked at that. I'm shocked at that because Ricky Simon is legit, and for somebody from a small village in Wales to call out a wrestler like Ricky Simon, you've got to be backing yourself, and he did. And his wrestling held up. He was just
He could have beat on a different night. He could have beaten him. I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with what Sledge said. He did seem to be pushing a little bit too much. But with Jack, he always goes for the finish as well. He always wants to get a finish in there. So
that jab was laser-like. It was straight, sweet, crisp, and it was working. But what does he back it up with?
Yeah. It was, like you say, it was sad to see him lose his O, but apart from Khabib, all of the best fighters have lost a fight, and certainly people like Charles Oliveira, it means nothing, does it? So we'll be buzzing to see him back in there, and hopefully we'll have him on the next UK card, because it was a shame that, and I know it got mentioned a lot, so I'm not going to bang on about it today, but it was a shame that he fought a week before this card, and also Corey fighting, I think, the week after as well. Would have been good to have her on this card, but I guess it was full. And we may, if you guys have got time, just chat about some of the fights that are on UFC London this week.
Yeah, definitely.
The headline is Curtis Blades against Tom Aspinall. That is another wrestling heavy fight. What are we making of that one?
It's a huge fight, isn't it, for Tom? Absolutely massive. I think a win over such a legitimate guy and such a good wrestler as Curtis Blades. He can call out anyone he wants if he wins that. It's another step up again, I think, from Volkov we fought last time. But honestly, looking at how we sort of beat him, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't go in there as a favourite and shouldn't go in there with a lot of confidence. Yeah, I think it's a great main event. Such a charismatic and humble guy, Tom Aspinall. He really is. He's another guy like Jack Shaw who just carries himself so well, and it's so easy to support for English and British fans. So, really looking forward to seeing him getting in there, compete. Okay, we were sort of in the wings last time after the fight, and we got a chance to speak to him after, and such a nice guy, and you want to see him do well. So, we'll definitely be shouting for Tom on Saturday, and we'll see how he goes against a top heavyweight in the UFC.
And no one's tested his wrestling yet, really, have they? I personally, I would have preferred to see the Tai Tuivasa fight, just because I think for fans, it's a more exciting fight to watch, and I think it would have been an easier fight. This is going to be a tougher fight, I think.
But as a British fan, loads of questions get answered after this fight with Tom.
Yeah.
I'd love to know his game plan. Obviously, his coaches, does he fight on the back foot and use his footwork to stay away from the wrestling? Does he press him and push him with strikes and push him against the cage? Does he wrestle himself? We know he got a BJJ black belt. If he does get taken down, how does he fight off his back? Does he stay off his back or does he get up? I can't wait. This is probably, again, talk about careers. This is when it's going to define his Tai Tuivasa. That would be a slugfest. That would have been movement and punching. That would have been great. And Cyril Gane would have been two very similar styles. But Az and Gane found the blueprint to beat Gane, put him on the back leg.
Yeah.
You know what? I've got a feeling, I might regret saying this, but I've got a feeling Tom's going to come out and wrestle him.
I know, because I know Tom can wrestle.
Yeah, he's so
supposedly.
athletic as well. I know Blades is a big, strong, and experienced wrestler, but I just think Tom is a good wrestler, a good grappler, and I just, from seeing him in there over the last couple of times, he just looks so athletic. He looks physically so capable. I think he goes in there and really tries to put it on Blades.
I think his IQ was underrated as well, right? Because it's like he moves when he got to move. He's in and out the pocket, which is obviously basics. But you look at the Arlovski fight. When he realised he was absorbing his punches, and he knew as soon as he threw a bad kick and his foot hit the floor, he went straight through him and put him on his ass. Just you know, and that was an opportunist. I was like, right, this is working. Plan B, bang, let's go.
Yeah, I just think as well, he's won all of his fights so quickly. I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg of what he's got to offer in terms of his like toolbox, and I'm excited because there's so much we don't know, and like you said, Glenn, like this is where questions get answered. So
even though he's won those fights all quickly, right? There's not one of those fights where you think like, oh, that's a lucky punch, or oh, that's like he's had a good chance there. Every fight, even though they've been quick, it's just been a difference in skill, a difference in class.
Yeah.
So that's what gives me confidence with him sort of pushing forward. Even if he took a loss on Saturday, I think the difference in class he showed to the fighters he faced previously, I think really sets him up to be a British prospect. So yeah,
his composure is like, you know, he's fighting the best heavyweights in the world. He doesn't seem phased one iota.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like he's going for a walk on a Sunday morning.
And he's the one who's put the brakes on a little bit about who he's fighting and how fast he's climbed the ranks. And I think that has stood him in good stead as well. Like not just racing and calling for the title shot, like as you know, 3 fights ago. He wants to get as much cage time as he can before he, you know, is me. Imagine getting in there with Ngannou. Jesus, like we're not far off that.
I tell you what, I think a money fight for him would be tied to Ivasa because he's got a massive, not a following, but he's a big name over here now. People would love to see that. That could be a massive pay-per-view, the first pay-per-view in London, that could be, couldn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what, though?
You know, again, that'd be brilliant.
Tuivasa is such a good fighter. He's a slugger. He's tough. You know, like he says in his interviews, he'll bang on with anyone. But I just don't know if Tom gives him that chance to stand.
No, he moves on the outside. His fight IQ is too good. He's not been in the pocket long enough to be caught with them shots.
And if he wins this fight, he's above Tuivasa. Unless Tuivasa does beat Gon, which I don't know. I find maybe.
Could you see Tuivasa wrestle there? Because I think Ngannou's got a blueprint to beat Gon. Walk him down, press him, put him in his back.
Maybe he will. I don't.
All right, it's not as simple as that, is it?
Yeah. But I'll quickly mention Hermansson. Chris Curtis is obviously not the fight that we wanted for the co-main. It looks like it is going to be the co-main, but we've lost Darren Till, which is a gutter. Yeah, we fought a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
I'm not too clued up by it.
Yeah. I'm going to skip over it just because we've got so many Brits on this card, but stop me if you do want to talk about anyone who's not a Brit. But then we've got Paddy Pimblett versus Jordan Levitt. How did we see that one going? Obviously, the roof's going to come off the O2.
Paddy Pimblett flying triangle.
It wouldn't surprise you with Paddy
he's got a top hit in knee, and he's got, you know what he's like. And I think basically,
if he goes for it and doesn't get it, though, he could end up in a dreadful position.
Does he care? Does he care?
I think
it's a good matchup for Paddy. This one, I know Jordan. I've seen him fight a couple of times, and he he's a solid guy. They all are at this level, but I think Paddy would like that style of guy who's not known for sort of really fancy and elite striking. A guy who's more known for grappling, submissions. I think it really plays to Paddy actually to bring him over here in his arena, in his backyard with his crowd, and really sort of I can see this one being a bit of a drawn a full distance fight where Paddy grinds out a win. To be honest with you, I don't see Jordan taking really many risks.
He's not a knockout artist, is he? From what I've seen,
I think this will have to be a smart performance from Paddy. He might try a couple of, like Glenn said, some madness, some flying triangles, turn on the style a little bit. But I think this is a really good matchup for him, and I do think he should get a win here, even though Jordan is a very, very accomplished opponent.
I'm going to miss this live because I'll be fighting myself at the same time. But if I finish, right, the Paddy's pulled off a flying triangle, you are buying the food at Talbot by Lewis.
No worries. If you fly in triangles in Sledge, I'll take you for food.
Yeah,
I've just got a fear if he does go for something like that, he could end up in a terrible position and not get out of it. That's my only fear at this level. It's not as easy to get those things, but
he seems a little bit bigger as well. That's one thing I thought. He seems a little bit bigger than Levitt, which again with the type of matchup it could be, that a little bit of extra size and reach could be another factor that goes in his favor.
I'll tell you what, I just cannot believe the shape that he's in. Like, I know so much gets said about Paddy blowing up in between camps, but like, it just seemed like 1 minute we were seeing all those memes about him, just like
Fatty the body and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then the next minute he's bloody all drawn in the face and six pack again. It's unreal.
I'm a foodie as well, and I'm exactly, obviously not to that extent, but yeah, food is life. And like you said in our interview, no one with a six-pack is happy. I'd rather be fat than happy.
Yeah, he seems to lose it quickly, doesn't he? As well, that's one good thing. I think he's lucky with.
He's clearly got a good nutritionist, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, when he listens.
When he listens, yeah. Then we've got Nikita Krylov against Alexander Gustafsson. Molly McCann against Hannah Goldie. Obviously,
Molly's riding a wave, boy. She's on
riding a wave. Like, up until a couple of weeks ago, she was the only woman to have got a knockout in the UFC this year. I don't think that we can even dream of another night like that. But it's having the pair of them on the card is like, must be like printing money for the UFC.
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? And they've got such big personalities, though. I think that's what does it. I don't know much about her opponent, Hannah Goldie, to be fair on this one, but I
think she's 1 and 2 in the UFC.
I looked at her record, and I remember seeing Molly's got double her record. So I think Molly's got twice as many wins, and I've got here. So Molly's got 12 and 4, and she's got 6 and 2 record. So Molly's literally had twice as many fights.
Yeah,
I think like you just said about printing money, I think they sort of favouring her for this, ready to go to Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I definitely do. I just think
Liverpool are standing up now, especially with Mo up there as well.
Yeah,
she's not the sort to get complacent either, so I can't see that being an issue. I'm so excited for her to get her moment in the sun. Like, it couldn't happen to a nicer person, and I just want to see her continue to ride this wave for as long as possible. So I think as well, for the crowd, if those two win on Saturday, the roof is going to come off. It was amazing last time, and it would just be insane again if we could in any way replicate that.
Yeah.
Then we got Paul Craig against Volkan Ozdemir. Volkan, no time.
No time. You better not rush against Craig, because Craig will triangle him again.
Paul Craig just like makes a living out of getting pulverized for
being the nail. Everyone likes being the armor, nobody likes being the nail except Paul
apart
Craig.
From Paul Craig.
He's losing
every second of every fight, right up until he pulls this mad submission out of the bag.
And you can see him setting up. You can see him making him throw haymakers, making him and just angling his hips, ready to throw legs up. Like, who does that? Him.
He's one of a kind, isn't he? I think. Last couple of performances he's had have been amazing.
It's the only person ever made to pull guard.
Yeah, you can't bet against him because there's so many times when you've thought going into a fight, he's going to get beaten. Even when he's in there getting beaten, you think, oh, he's done for. He just finds a way. I think he's just got that winner spirit in about him as well as an elite grappling game. So you can never.
Did a good step as a fight didn't come off.
Yeah.
He's too far ahead of him now in the rankings. Like, Craig's not far off a title shot.
He's what is he ranked? You know?
Yeah,
he's 5, isn't he? 5.
And deservedly so. Like he's beaten everyone, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like he's lost a couple along the way, but he's beaten so many good guys. It's like
hasn't he beat Ankalev? He's beat that Jamal Hill, who's looked wicked against everybody else. Yeah. Like he's got some elite names on his record, and
Paul Craig is ranked 8.
Oh, 8. Sorry, I think they do keep just moving them around without anyone fighting as well, don't they? So hard to stay on top of those.
But you know what? Like once you're in the top 10, like you said, you're only ever a phone call away from a title shot, and if someone pulls out or someone. I think
if he wins, he'll call it Anthony Smith.
He's called him out before, hasn't he? Like, and I would like to see that fight.
That's a fight he can legitimately win against a legitimate contender.
Yeah.
He might be favoured in that fight and all because he's always been the underdog.
Isn't it exciting how many of our Brits are like literally on the brink of something massive here? Then we've got Mason Jones against Ludwig Klein. Late addition to the card. We were hoping it was coming. The reason that you get to come to London, Lewis. Tell us about this one.
Do you know what? I find it difficult because I am quite, when it comes to like the UFC, I do feel like I'm a little bit biased towards the British guys, specifically the Welsh guys. I mean, after his last fight, Mason looked great last time out, didn't he? He really showed a different side of his game with his wrestling ability. We know he can strike. We know how good he is at sort of landing shots and break people down, but seeing him really go out and put on a wrestling clinic last time, I think was just great to see how well-rounded he is. He's obviously training very hard out in Sacramento. He just does it all. He's tough. He can strike. He's got good strength and conditioning, good fitness, and he can wrestle now. He's proved as well. So I'm going to have to go with Mason for the win. As you would imagine, I know the guy he's facing has got quite a good record. I think he's got like 18 wins on his record. So it's not going to be easy for sure, but I think in front of a British crowd, with a full camp he's had, even though he didn't know who he was fighting, he knew he was going to be fighting. So I think you've got to back him on those terms,
100%. Glenn?
100% got to back him, anyway. But back to his last fight with David Danuma. It was David Danuma, wasn't it? I haven't done any research. I think it's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's it.
I think he went to rest him because, again, his IQ, he wasn't sure if, how the striking was going. He was getting caught a few times. And that guy, David Danuma, I think he won last week, and he put on a wrestling clinic. So he hasn't put on a clinic against somebody who can't wrestle. He's put on a clinic against somebody who is legit, right? Because Danuma was a last-minute stand-in when he was a featherweight fighting a lightweight. And now he's fighting a featherweight and he's smoking everyone.
Yeah, I think he's won a couple, hasn't he, since he fought Mason?
Since two he won. The most recent one, I think it was a week before last. No, but his wrestling was awesome.
Yeah,
and I thought
the quality's there. The quality's there, and like I said, I think if Mason wins this, I like to see him call out a big name. Like one of the ones I almost hate to say it, but I'm sure Mason should be calling like Pimlet or some of these kind of guys where he can really make a name for himself because he's that good. You even look at his loss against Mike Davis.
Are they both intensity fighters, Lewis?
Wow.
Yeah, they're not going to happen. They both fight to Graham, don't they? So it's not going to happen. Like, I'd love it to happen, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's a good fight for Mason as well. Even though, like I said, Paddy's a great fighter and I'm a huge fan. These are the kind. If you're a Welsh guy sort of coming into the UFC, looking at what's near you, I think that's definitely something you'd have to think about calling out, right? Or am I just being bad-minded?
I don't think the UFC. So go on, Glenn.
I'm not sure what's happening because I haven't seen him fight for ages. Is Nico Price? I think that would have been a good fight for Mason. The one that drew against Cowboy and caught them was moved for no contest.
Yeah,
Was that
I
not at
actually-
170?
I
Yeah, I was
thought,
gonna say,
I thought it was lightweight. I
I'm
thought
not sure.
Cowboy cut the lightweight. I need to check.
I thought it was a welterweight. I can't see the UFC matching Paddy like that, Lewis, to be honest.
Nothing.
Like, no, I think they're gonna try and get him to a top 15 spot by
Yeah, my bad.
kind of building him slowly, and then he's gonna have to start fighting, the ranked opponents. But I feel like they're building him in the right way, in the
Yeah.
way that I would have liked to have seen them build Reece McKitty and Jai Herbert, and they haven't.
Do you know with Paddy though, right? Even though he's definitely got some sort of weaknesses in his game, no doubt. He's one of those guys. On his night, I could see him. I could see him beating anyone. Do you know what I mean? He's so confident. He's so he's big for the weight class. His grappling is so strong. Even though he might go in as a massive underdog, there's a part of me that thinks he could potentially go in there and beat like Oliveira or something. Do you know what I mean? I know that's a mad shout, but he just has
Justin
that.
Gaethje and Michael Chandler.
He has that level of confidence and sort of, I don't know, that charisma that it just makes me think like this guy on his night could do anything. So, I'm a massive Paddy Pimblett fan, obviously, but
his striking is so unorthodox, and he's so good off his back.
Yeah, honestly, I know you'd put him as a massive underdog right now against the top 10, but he's building him slowly is definitely good because he's only going to get better. And
yeah,
I think, like I said, the longer he grows at that division, he's got a chance to beat anyone.
I wish they'd do that more. I really do. I don't. I think some people get treated as cannon fodder, and some people get treated as genuine prospects. And it's you don't find out till you get there, and you get given a serial killer, or you get given someone, okay. But
and we've kind of gone off Mason to talk about that, but the same thing stands for Mason. He's a two weight champion in Cage Warriors. I think he's had 3 fights in the UFC, a really close decision the first time out, and against I think a top 10 guy, or just out a rank guy at least. Obviously, then he had that DQ loss or no decision, I think it was, which he was on his way to winning convincingly, and then a good win last time. So the talent he's got against good guys is showing through, and if he gets good matchups, Mason's another guy you could see like on his night he can really beat a lot of or mix it up with a lot of the top 10 guys. So we've got a lot of talent here, and I think that's why this card is so exciting, really.
Definitely. I'll just quickly run through the others on the card. We've got Mark Diakaze against Damir Hadzovic. Nathaniel Wood. It's been a long time for Nathaniel Wood. I really like the matchup. Charles Rosa of ATT. I think that's going to be a good one. I'm really excited to see the prospect back in there after what feels like forever, doesn't it?
He deserves this card came back to London for him, I think.
Yeah.
So disappointed that he had to pull out of that. He didn't, but the fight got cancelled for the last one. So
he was absolutely
he's
gutted.
such a popular guy.
What do you think about the move to featherweight for him? He's going to be a small featherweight, isn't he?
I don't know. I think the proof's going to be in the pudding on Saturday with that. Like, sometimes guys they step up and they're much better at a higher weight class, don't they?
Yeah.
I think with Nathaniel, he's been in the game a long time now. He's got great coaches, so I think they wouldn't have made that jump unless they saw a benefit in it.
Yeah.
He's going to be quick. He's going to still hit hard. I don't know. I think the proof will be in the pudding now. We'll learn a lot on Saturday. So very excited to see him back and see what he can do, I guess.
Got anything to add to that, Glenn?
No, I didn't know he was going to featherweight till this morning, but he's a mega ripped bantamweight, isn't he? So perhaps him a bit fuller and a bit comfortable would be better for him. But like Lou said, we'll see Saturday.
I'm excited for that one. Makwan Amirkhani against Jonathan Pierce. This is your pick for upset of the night, Glenn, right?
Yes, Makwan Amirkhani. He always manages to pull out the bag when he's underdog, and the last one he won me a bit of money last time. He won Paul Craig 2 underdogs, and he won me. And again, he's a massive outsider, and I think he's going to win again with a submission.
I was heartbroken. Yeah. I was heartbroken last time because that was against Mike Grundy, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
Mike had his dad there who's not well, and it was just so emotional.
Yeah.
Like it really just felt so savage the way that went. But he's got that anaconda, and it's just like it's like Thingy's Ezekiel choke, isn't it? Just like it's coming. You must be training the whole of camp to defend it, and then he gets it anyway.
Didn't he anaconda fishy as well?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good grappler from a really good grappling gym, and who's going to be against people who can do that every day, and then he still does it.
Yep, 100%. Then we've got Mohamed Mokaev, the best amateur there has ever been and probably ever will be, against Charles Johnson. Jai Herbert against Kyle Nelson. I'm so delighted that Jai is getting another shot because I think he's an absolute killer, and he just had a terrible handout with the matchups.
Another shot. Was he cut then?
No, but I think people were thinking he might have been. He lost a couple.
I thought
people were worried that he was going to get cut, but he fully deserves to be staying in the UFC for now, I think.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
His last fight was LA, wasn't it?
Ilya
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of him, but I thought Jai was doing really well, if not edging.
He was winning the fight. He was winning the fight. Like,
and then until you get it into next week, that shot was unreal.
Yeah.
I know, and that's what I mean. Just like the matchups have been, even though they've been savage, he's been holding his own, if not winning the fights, right up until he's been caught. And he's just like this close to, this is his first fight.
Ronaldo, and he was winning that. That was a hell of a scrap, and then he got clipped again.
Yeah. And then he was supposed to fight Drakkar Klose, and that fight fell through. But again, I was thinking, Jesus, these are fights when you're reviewing
These are savages, to be fair to him. He must have upset Graham or Dana or someone.
Yeah. And then we've got Mandy Bohm, Victoria Leonardo, and Claudio Silva against Nicholas Dalby. You love Nicholas Dalby, don't you, Lewis?
I've seen like almost all of Nicholas Dalby's fights in the last 4 or 5 years. He's just one of those guys you can't. He's very difficult not to like him again.
Yeah.
Obviously, I remember we had that mad fight with him and Ross Houston up in Cage Warriors in London a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Obviously, he got signed. Ross didn't end up getting signed, and I don't think he's made a bad account of himself in the UFC the second time round. I think he's lost 1 or 2, won 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I'm not sure much about his opponent, Claudio Silva. I think
Claudio trains. He's a Team ZR.
Is he?
Right, yeah. So he's got great jiu-jitsu, as you would expect. He's another very unorthodox fighter. Striker, sorry. His striking has improved a lot, but it's pretty wild.
It's mad that's the level. Like, obviously, all of us go to a lot of local shows. We see fights and we get excited for local matches. Then you see, like, you go to a UFC event and the very first fight of the night, I think this is the first one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is Nicholas Dalby, who's a 2-time Cage Warriors champion.
I know. 2-time
UFC fighter, absolute sort of stalwart in the European MMA game, and that's the first fight of the night. So, it's great to see these events. And like I said, I'm gutted I'll be missing Sledge, but this kind of makes up for it a little bit. No offense, Sledge.
Somebody wants to know, Glenn, if your fight's on TV or if they can watch it anywhere. Is there a pay-per-view?
I didn't think there was, but I've seen Kieran Gibbons is commentating on Saturday. So he's commentated on something. So if there is a link, I'll share it.
Okay. A few more shout-outs for you. Lloyd Halfyard. Shout-out to Nails and the boys fighting on the weekend.
Yes, Lloyd.
Kyle, how's it going?
Kyle, why? He's got COVID. He's locked up in the house.
Oh, get well soon, Kyle. And then Chad says, definitely top 3, Glenn. Stop being humble. About the legends.
what is it? Mount Rushmore. It'd be one of them and put Talbot to me on it one day.
Oh, I'm just so buzzing. What a weekend of MMA we've got, because Friday, I'm sorry, guys, we don't have time to go through the whole Cage Warriors card as well, but that
I
is
know,
going to be
that's
epic.
savage as well, isn't it?
Shout out to Steve Amable, who's going to be fighting on that one against Petley. That's going to be an amazing fight. The whole card's amazing. The dentist is back on there as well. Like, we've just that whole card. I think they're celebrating 20 years of Cage Warriors, so the whole show is completely
wonder if
stacked.
Dana White will be there.
Maybe he will. They said that last time and he wasn't.
I know.
So
Who pulled out though? There was a big pull out, wasn't it?
Oh, for the main event.
Yeah, the whole
Can't
card
remember.
fell apart. I think there was only
So
they
was
only did a main
Jordan
card.
Vucenic. I was all adamant Jordan Vucenic was going to get signed after that.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be we thought, if you remember, we predicted that Vucenic and Hughes would fight to unify the belts, and then Dana would come and sign up the win.
Yeah.
Jordan did fight, but he ended up fighting against Hendon because Paul Hughes pulled out.
Because we thought Dana might do like a looking for a fight.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he did it this time, because he was so buzzing after the last London card.
Yeah.
It's definitely a better chance this time than obviously not.
If he does, I reckon he signs Will Curry. I'm going to call it. I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to throw it as a wild one. Sign Will Curry.
There's so much talent.
I wish we had time to talk about one.
Lonnie Kavanagh's back in action as well. You know, I've been telling you about him for years and years and years. But it's
forget like them. It's still so with me. I'm mates with Mendes, and I'm still not over that yet. But well done, Lorna.
Well, there you go. Like what you told me how good he was. So it just proves Lonnie's.
And he made him look average. To be fair, no disrespect to Ryan, that boy was that good. So it was no shame in losing to him whatsoever.
It's superb. So make sure everybody tunes in for that. That'll be on Fight Pass. I'll be bringing you some post-fight interviews, and we'll be doing live events. Go on, Glenn.
A big shout out to Aaron Abbey. Nobody's mentioned the Welsh fight. No, he's fighting in
He's fighting in Wales. Yeah, so we've started getting some announcements for Cage Warriors Wales. That's coming up soon. Oh my God, I'm buzzing just thinking about all of this. Glenn's fighting on Saturday at Budo in Swansea. And then we've obviously got the UFC London on Saturday night as well. So it's going to be absolutely mental weekend of MMA. Final thoughts from you, Lewis?
Just looking forward to it. Another great weekend for MMA in the UK. And hopefully the results go our way. I'm sure some won't, some will, some won't. It always happens, doesn't it? But like I said, I just hope all the British guys go out there and do themselves proud. And for us who we're lucky enough to get to sit and watch and report on it. It's a great weekend. So yeah, can't wait. And
Glenn, anyone you want to thank or shout out before you fight?
Sponsors, Hog Bros, CryoCube, Aspire to Be, Cam's Transport, Sanders Body Repair, and my brother's restaurant, the Two Sons for Talbot. And obviously my coaches like Nails Fight Centre, KGB Talbot. And that's it.
We're buzzing for you. We'll be thinking of you and cheering you on while we're watching the UFC. So make sure you do a lot of posting to let us know how it goes.
I will do.
And we are very, very proud of you and everything that you've achieved to get back in the cage.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'll see you all soon.
Take care, everyone.
See you guys.
Thank you.